Hey guys, welcome back to Module 13, Section 1 and Part 2. You don't necessarily need to write down the stuff that is on the screen right now. That should be in your notes from yesterday. I just wanted to do a couple little reminder things. Remember, we're talking about exponential growth functions, and we have this format: y equals a times b to the x minus h plus k. A is your initial value, B is your growth rate, and then if there's any sort of right or left shift, it's going to be shown with an H, and then up or down shifts for the graph are going to be shown with K. Frequently when we're working with our functions, they just look more like the examples from 2 and 5 yesterday, where we don't have a right or left, up or down shift. Okay, and then also one other quick reminder: order of operations. So just again, if we were plugging in and making an XY chart, if I'm going to plug in 0, I would want to do 2 to the 0 first, then multiply by my answer by -5. And same kind of thing over on this one. If I were plugging in a 0 or whatever number, I would want to do 10 to the 0 first, and then multiply that answer by -4. If you plug it in your graphing calculator, you can put the entire equation in all at once. Okay, so for example, if we want to simplify this equation, again, if you've got your graphing calculator, you can just plug in 1500 times 1.25 to the 10th power, hit enter, and you're good to go. If not, whatever you do, don't do this multiplication first. Take your 1.25 to the 10th power, then multiply by 1500. If you want to test that out on your calculator real quick, plug it in and see. Your answer that you should get on this is 13,969.84 or something, probably rounded. Okay, give you a second just to check that out. Okay, today we're just going to look at a couple word problems and how do we apply our growth functions to word problems. So the first one: write an equation for the situation, then find the annual sales after 6 years. So here's our situation. Annual sales are $7,000, and they're increasing at a rate of 3% per year. So I'm using my form, y equals a times b to the x. I'm not going to put in an h and a k on this unless I figure out that I have information I need to. But what's my initial value? Well, right now we're starting with a value of 700,000. So we're going to put that in for A, and increasing at a rate of 3% per year. Now remember, we talked about that yesterday. That 3% is 100% plus 3% more, which means my growth rate is 103%, or 1.03. So that's what I'm going to put in the equation, 1.03 to the x power. And now if I want to solve that, I'm just going to plug in my 6 years for x. Y equals 700,000 times 1.03 to the 6th power. Again, if you're using your graphing calculator, there may be a few others where you can put it all in at once. I'm not as familiar with all the calculators, but if you plug that in all at once, or just do 1.03 to the 6th power, then take that answer, do that part first, then take that answer times 700,000. Okay, and we are going to find out that it is $835,836.61. I wish you guys were here, because that's where I would ask like 3 of you, hey, double check my math. Keely, is that the right number? Michelle, is that the right number? Grace, is that what you got? And you would double check me on that. So I miss seeing you guys. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so write an equation for a situation and find the number of members after 10 years. So we're going to write the equation first. Again, y equals a times b to the x power. Okay, it says it starts with 5 members. So what does that mean? Our initial value is 5. Okay, and then it says a club tripled its membership every year. So tripled means getting multiplied by 3. So for the b value, we're going to plug in 3 to the x power. Okay, and so if we want to find out what happens in 10 years, we're plugging that 10 in for x. Number's going to get really big really fast, so I'm not going to try and do it in my head. Again, plug it into your graphing calculator all at once, or if you don't, then you need to do 3 to the 10th first, and then multiply that answer by 5. And y equals 295,245. What are we talking about? Members. Okay. If you want, pause the video for a minute, and you go ahead and try number 3. See if you can get the equation set up correctly first. And then if you unpause, you can check back with me and see if we're on the same page on that, okay? So again, go ahead and pause right now. Try that on your own paper. And I'll be back in a second to check.
Wow, spreadsheet.
Okay, so hopefully you took a minute to pause that, and we can double check now. So there's a certain period, wolves, there were 50 wolves to start. So again, that's going to be my initial value. My B value is not going to be 12% or 0.12, because remember, if it's growing, it's 100% of what you already had, plus 12% more, which is 112%, but we're going to write that as a decimal, 1.12. And then the question wants to know what's happening after 3 years. So we plug it in there. Again, graphing calculator, you can plug it in all at once, or just do 1.12 to the 3rd power, multiply that answer by 50, and y should give you 70.25 for your answer. So the interesting piece on that is, of course, realistically, can you get 0.25 wolves? Does that mean you just have like 2 paws and a tail? you got the nose and a couple ears. No. So, since that's part of a wolf, we're going to call it 71 wolves. Okay. Okay, now on the Google Classroom, you should have a 13.1 practice worksheet. I want you to go ahead and do that. There's not that many problems on that one. I think it was 8. There's a few word problems like this. There's a couple more graphing problems like we did yesterday. And then you're going to turn that in to me on Google Classroom. I think that it's been working for people to take a picture and upload it. You guys are more tech savvy with this than I am, so if anybody has a better way for us to be turning these in to me, please let me know. And again, I miss you guys. Let me know if you have questions, and I'm still working on trying to create a Google Meet. I've watched Michael do it for 2 mornings now with his teachers, so I'm going to try and get that set up for you guys next week so that if you do have questions, we can go live and we can answer back and forth with that. Okay? Have a great day.